The market right now is showing more momentum than we may have seen this entire bull market to this point, and Bitcoin dominance is starting to fall slightly. I'm going to go over in this video why if you're feeling FOMO, if you're sidelined, maybe you're just underexposed, you are not late to this run as altcoins have really just started to move, and I'm going to go over which projects I think are still amazing entries, as well as some projects that I think just haven't really moved to this point on this Bitcoin move. So without further ado, let's jump into it. And before we dive into it, guys, be sure to drop down below. If you enjoy the content, if you're bullish on crypto, this is the channel for you. Be sure to like the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more. Throughout the entire bull market, we'll have you covered with all of the alpha and all of the tokens that you need to know and be primed for the bull run. As well, a big shout out to our sponsors down below in the description. We have some incredible sponsors from 𝗪𝗏𝗏, also Nexus, as well as 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 and 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And today I want to give a big shout out to 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. Their competition for $4 million, a trip to the Grand Prix, a Tesla Cybertruck, that is going on until the 15th. So you have still 4 more days as of recording this to jump in down below and compete for $4 million on the 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 platform. No KYC, centralized exchange, easy in and outs as far as deposits and withdrawals, over 400 plus pairs tradable. It truly is one of the best, jurisdiction free. You can trade on 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 from anywhere in the world due to the no KYC. So if you need a centralized exchange, I would highly advise to check out 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 down below in the description. Now let's get into it, because this market is heating up, and I would say right now is one of the most fun times that we've had in this bull run. Sure, like meme coin mania was a good time, and when altcoins were kind of doing their thing back in December, you know, really fun. But right now, we're actually seeing a little bit of a tipping point as Bitcoin continues to rise, currently sitting at $117,438, up 9% on the weekly, which is insane at these price levels that we're seeing a 10% increase in price. We're also seeing Ethereum hovering around that $3,000 level at $29.69 and is up 20% over the course of the week. And right now, altcoins are waking up because this Bitcoin dominance number has slightly hit a plateau. So it does feel like a lot of people are now way up on their Bitcoin purchases and are getting ready to potentially filter down into other plays. When we filter, well, first and foremost, just look at the green all across the board. A couple of the only altcoins here that are in the red over the monthly, which I think is a great opportunity, by the way. We see Solana, we see SUI, Avalanche, TON, and 𝗵𝗵𝗵 out of these top coins that are in the red on the 30 days. And that's really what I'm going to isolate on this video, because I do think that those are the types of opportunities that haven't really ran to this point. If we just look at the 30-day charts on a couple of these tokens out here, we see MOG up 40%, Pudgy, you know, and I think Pengu's still undervalued at this level, is up 86% on the 30-day. We see Hyperliquid up 7% on the 30-day. Most coins have retaliated off of that level, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. But let's just take a second. You know, we're biohackers here in the crypto space. We're doing green light therapy today, looking at all these green charts. It's a great day. Look, and you know, all the people that said that crypto's not here to last, or told you that you're an idiot back in 2022 for buying and DCAing Bitcoin or whatever the case is, this is the time to do a little bit of a victory lap. But always understand, you might be feeling a little bit of FOMO. Maybe you're underallocated, as I mentioned in the intro of this video, but everyone feels that way. You know, I've been in crypto for 8 years at this point in time. I've been full-time crypto for 4.5, 5 years. I still feel underexposed a lot of the time, just because it's human nature. You want more, right? Even Miles, you know, he's very well positioned. He said he made his biggest Bitcoin buy ever at $75K, but he feels criminally underexposed. You can never have enough Bitcoin, and that's just going to go for the whole industry, right? You see something like Hyperliquid pumping or TAOs pumping, your human nature is just going to be like, dang, I should have bought more. But that's with everything in life. And this game is so psychological. So you can make the best investments in the world, but your psychology has to be intact, and you can't give in to that FOMO. So obviously, you don't want to fade the uptrend and be like, oh, it's going to go down, but you also don't want to miss out if it continues to go up. So what I'm going to do in this video is go over the tokens that I'm looking at that I still think are really primed for upside from here and maybe have hardly pumped to this point in time. And obviously this market is going to play out differently than we've ever seen in the past. Look, the previous 4-year cycles have, no pun intended, been pretty cyclical at that point in time. We understand the flow of liquidity, etc. But right now with the ETFs, with the institutional adoption, with the companies, the treasury companies stacking up Bitcoin, this bull run's going to be a little bit different, and we have to adjust for that. And I think we could even go higher this cycle as far as Bitcoin than we might even imagine. We see BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. It becomes the fastest ETF ever to hit 80 billion as Bitcoin tops $118,000. And look, as far as the Bitcoin, the bull run, where we're at right now, etc., I do think that you are still well positioned. Ethereum's still under $3,000. Dominance is just now starting to kind of hit a little bit of a resistance level and plateau, which gives you amazing entries on altcoins. 𝗪𝗪𝗏𝗪 tweets here once again. I'm here to remind you, red candles are here for buying. And throughout a bull run, you're going to see dips. You're going to see some of these runs start to slow down. But that's just human nature. There's going to be profits taken off the table. And also, there are going to be times when the market wants to shake you out. Look, there's market makers and everything. The reason we're at 117K today was a massive short squeeze yesterday. Like the market got short squeezed out because there was so much short liquidity. And then once we ripped out all those shorts, we went from 112K up to 116K in the snap of one finger, like a single candle. So this market is made to mess with you in that regard. So there will be ups, there will be downs, but I think right now you still are early. This is not a retail market. This is not your grannies calling you and saying, what coin do I buy? Or your uncle, your drunk uncle's calling you saying, hey, I bought Dogecoin. How am I going to do this cycle? Like, we're not even close to that point. And for me, even, I've not heard from any of my friends about what to buy. And usually at the top of last market, and even the meme coin mania 8 months ago, I was getting texts every day like, hey, I found this coin, 𝗪𝗛𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗏 or whatever the case is. And they were asking me, should I buy it? But we're not even at that level yet. So I think if you are here, you are well positioned. So congratulations. And altcoins have not ran to this point. So looking through the market, first and foremost, I do think Ethereum is an easy layup. And I think, if you're in crypto, you probably have a little bit of Ethereum. So I do think Ethereum back to all-time highs is a given, just on a low end. And I think once we do break, as Becker's tweet says here, I don't really think you're too late to altcoins until Ethereum starts moving towards that $4,000 level. Like, we're still under 3K. Ethereum at 3,500, alts are going to look insanely high compared to where they are now. So I do think you have some time there as far as altcoin accumulations. But which ones would I be stacking up at this point in time? Obviously, I want to go over a couple of big winners because we were saying to buy SUI at $250, Avalanche at $16 as well. We've been calling Hyperliquid since $33 on that big dip about a month and a half ago. So I do think those three plays have really been carrying the portfolio, as well as 𝗏. I mean, 𝗏 in general has been one of the best performers in the market. This thing just teleported almost to $400, is up 22% on the weekly. But guys, this is why we focused our portfolio on these coins. Like a month or two ago, 3-4 months ago, when I was super allocated into gaming coins and only had small allocations in these types of projects, I did start to feel that human nature, that FOMO. I wanted more of these big protocols. And then I just pivoted the portfolio over. I said, look, I shouldn't be exposed 30% of my portfolio in gaming. What I should do is trim 20-25% of that and put it into these top protocols alongside the gaming coins, because I do believe gaming will run. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is a majors market. This is a Bitcoin bull market with a few others tagged along. And I feel like those coins this cycle are going to be ETH. I do think BNB still probably is going to do crazy numbers this cycle. Solana, Hyperliquid, SUI, Avalanche, 𝗏. I think that stack alone could carry your portfolio. But for me, as far as DCAs today, I would be looking at red candles to buy on something like Hyperliquid at this point, or anything like that. But for me, I'm looking at the 30-day red coins. We see Solana. Solana was at what, 250 or whatever whenever Trump launched his coin. Let's go look at the charts here. Back in January 2024, this coin was 267 and Bitcoin was not $120,000 as we're seeing it today. So that's a big opportunity on a catch-up trade here. I do think Sol's going to catch up massively, and especially if meme coins do come back into the fold like we saw them about a year ago. I think that Solana is a free play if you are in on Solana at $163. As well, I'll be looking at, like I said, these red coins over the month. Stuff like SUI right now, even though it is up 20% on the weekly, this thing's still down 0.5% on the monthly time frame. So I'd be looking there for sure. I love Avalanche at 21. I mean, this thing was at $62 18 months ago. There's no reason it should be sitting at $20. I mean, the adoption on this chain has been incredible. All-time high transactions, 20 million transactions on Avalanche in a single day for the first time in history. On top of that, we see Black Hole may be one of the biggest DeFi launches. Now, we're not talking about Wonderland time or anything from last cycle, but one of the biggest DeFi launches that we've ever seen on Avalanche. You can do your swap. You can see your portfolio, your stakes, your like on Black Hole portfolio, not your broader portfolio. You can add liquidity, earn yield on all these different tokens. So what I'm going to do, because right now this just launched a few hours ago, I'm going to dive into this platform over the weekend and give you guys a full breakdown here on YouTube of how to maximize your profit and your experience on the Black Hole DEX. So that is going to come up in this next week. But right now, I think red candles are for buying. And even though these coins aren't exhibiting red candles, some of these big ones that are still down or even on the monthly, I think are great buys. Even 𝗏𝗃. I mean, when 𝗏𝗃 gets to running, I think 16 cents is an easy level to hit. That's like a 70-80% gain from this price point. So I do think there's a lot of good opportunities, and especially in gaming coins. Now, obviously, I have pivoted a lot of my portfolio into strength, but that's what an investor should do. And one thing, I've seen some comments here on the channel. I've seen some of you guys that are like, well, you're abandoning gaming. Oh, that's not, I don't like you for that. Like, I've seen a lot of messages like that. People saying they don't like me because I've left the gaming space or I abandoned crypto gaming. And I didn't abandon crypto gaming. Part of my portfolio is still very much into crypto gaming. However, any good investor is willing to change their investment thesis. And if you aren't willing to change your investment thesis, you're gonna get left behind. Like a year ago, Hyperliquid wasn't even in the market, but now I think if you're not exposed to Hyperliquid in some sort of way, I don't think that's a plus EV move, because Hyperliquid is the king platform of this cycle. So it's just one of those things where allocating capital appropriately, that doesn't mean that you're abandoning something. It just means you're pivoting into something with more liquidity. And right now, gaming coins aren't running. But I loved this tweet this morning that everyone is still asleep on the fact that gaming coins are down 90%. I think there will be a big run, but this is not going to be like the cycle that we saw last time, where you can literally put a bunch of names in a hat, write them down, tear them up, and pick names out of a hat, and then you can go in there and make gains off of gaming coins. I do not think that that is going to be the case. I think you need to make calculated bets on only top protocols, top games, people who have proved that they're here to build, have a product, either have an infrastructure, chain layer, etc. So as far as gaming, it definitely is not dead. We see Apple approving the first ever iOS game using Bitcoin Lightning payments. On top of that, Wilder World just did their Lamborghini to Mario launch today, and it was an NFT collection. This thing sold out in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So look, gaming is certainly not dead, but if I'm looking at gaming coins right now, first and foremost, I think Superverse is probably one of the best bets because it's tied into so many different protocols and games, and Elio is just a great marketer. So I love Superverse here at 75 cents. Moving down here, Beam is one of those coins that is beat down at this point in time, but it is bouncing up 25% this week. It's about at the entry price that we were able to get when they migrated from Merit Circle. So I do love Beam. I love Superverse. I think Ronin eventually will have a rocket of a move, but the problem with Ronin is it is kind of one of those chains that you have to really bridge over to, but that could be a good thing. Like, it's a little harder to get your hands on Ronin when you're actually using a, decentralized exchange, for example. So I like Super, I like Beam, I like Ronin. I still like Prime here at $2.80, I believe is the price. Let's go look at Prime, $2.77. And I do believe, tokens like Wilder World, tokens like Gunzilla, Zentree, those lower market cap plays, I think they will be primed for a big run whenever the liquidity does come into the gaming space. But if I was you, and here's what I'm doing, I'm not going to spread my bags thinner than 5 projects in gaming. You can choose which ones you want, but for me, I want 5 solid games, 5 solid projects, infrastructures, etc. And the good thing about this is the way we've structured our portfolio now is with Avalanche and SUI, you get gaming exposure on both of those chains. By holding IMX, you get their gaming exposure. So there are heavier chain layers up top that you just get broader exposure into gaming just by holding those. But dedicated gaming coins, IMX, Super, Ronin, Beam, Prime. I think that's a really good stack of tokens that will make a massive comeback throughout this cycle. And then if you want to take a few more quote unquote riskier bets, either the Gun token, Wilder World, Zentree, 𝗓𝗏𝗡 is a great one in my opinion. So that's what I'd be doing in the gaming space. Don't over allocate. Make sure you have some exposure, but you need to make sure you also have exposure to these top layers, because right now a lot of these coins are still way under all-time highs or even their highs from 8 months ago in December. So the only one here that's really just breaking new all-time highs is Hyperliquid. So I think altcoins have a great opportunity here. And the biggest advice I can give you here is red candles, as Kaleo says here, are for buying in this type of market. And look, we might go through some dips. You might buy at some point and it goes down, but you just have to see that through, because altcoins have not even started running yet. As Orangey says, we are just getting started. So guys, like the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more. What tokens are you up the most on right now? What tokens are you buying more of? Let me know what you think of this market. Do you think we're going higher? Do you think we plateau here and go through a little consolidation? I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you guys on the Monday video. As always, play well, my friends, and of course, trade well and responsibly, and stay bullish, my friends.